there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. Welcome to another in my video series of winter Christmas fairies. I'm calling this Faerie Merry 2023. This is also a color along over on Instagram, and I picked a page out of Winter Magic by Yana Prosperina. This one is going to be a little bit more winter themed, a little less Christmas themed, but I still am very excited to color this. So we're going to go with this page today, which I really love. I recently saw my beautiful coloring friend on Instagram, Phaedra, and I'll put her name on screen here. She recently colored this. It's gorgeous. Go give her some love over on Instagram. My color palette is going to be lots of blues and turquoise and white. And so I'm very excited to play today. I'm going to be using a lot of, it's going to be very monochromatic, but I think there'll be enough kind of, I don't know, depth in it that hopefully it won't be too boring. So that's my inspiration. And we're going to start with the background because that's always a good idea for me. So I want to use my Distress inks again today, and I'm going to use my paper tape, which I've kind of done this a little bit ahead of time. I went through and traced out, so I just laid some tape on my page. So you can kind of see that here. And I've traced out the fairy. So I'm just going to go through and cut those apart, cover up my entire fairy, and then I can kind of go to town with my inks and stuff and not have to worry too much about getting things where I don't want it. So I'm going to go off screen, get everything taped up, and yeah, and then when I come back, we'll do some ink blending. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, friends, this looks crazy, but it's going to work, right? It's going to work. So I've got the outside edge of her pretty much taped up, and I just covered a couple of spots on the interior so that I don't make, it's not like I'm going to be going over this a whole lot, but I just don't want it to be, you know, accidentally done. Yeah, so we've got that all good on here. Oh, there's a little piece that does not belong. Get out of there. Okay. I'm sure there's other ways that you can do this. I know for sure there are other ways you could do this. This is just what I had on hand. There is a supply that I cannot think of the word right now, but I'll put it on screen. But you can go through and paint it on the image that you want to stay clean, and then you can just peel it off after the fact. That's an option as well. So I'm going to be doing some shading here. So we're going to do a blend of colors. So I'm going to start lighter at the bottom and work towards darker. I'm trying to decide. I think I want to go. So here's my messy. So I'm going to do the tumbled glass. I was going to do the broken china, but I don't think I'm going to do that one. I think I'm going to go to the salty ocean. Maybe some salvage patina too, because that will bring in a little bit of that turquoise color. And then at the top, I want something pretty bright. So either the Mermaid Lagoon, I think the Mermaid Lagoon is probably going to be the way I go. I might do a little bit of the prize ribbon or the blueprint sketch at the top. Probably the prize ribbon. So let me grab that one. Okay, so that's what we got here. So I'm going to start with the tumbled glass, and then we'll just go from there. And I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. I'm not going to worry about the snowflakes because I'm either going to come back in and paint them in or draw them in with my Posca. Something. I don't mind that they're there. Or I might use some silver or some darker blues. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. So, yeah, we'll see about that. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started with this. So I'm starting with the tumbled glass, and I'm just going to do my blending. So I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so next I'm going to try something. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't on these papers, but I'm going to try to do a little bit of spritzing on my page. So I have this Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, which is nice because it can create different size droplets. So it can create big ones if you just barely squeeze it, or finer mist if you spray it a little harder. And so I like to do that, and then I'll come in with a paper towel or a towel, and you just pat off the area. And the ink is water based, water reactive, so you can really get some neat effects. Doesn't always work on this paper though. It's not the best because the paper absorbs the water so quickly. But yeah, I'm going to give this a dry, and then we'll take off the tape and I'll kind of show you that process too. Okay, so hopefully you can see some of that. While I am here, I'm going to try to get a little bit of paint out of this. That will work. Awesome. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do some white snow sprinkles really quick. Same like I did on the last video. I've got my fan brush here and some water, and we'll just get the fan brush nice and wet. Get a good amount of paint on it, and then just tap it around. Since my image is already covered, like it won't matter about worrying too much about not getting it on the actual image. The fan brush, and then a toothbrush is another one that's really good for this. I kind of want to just add a few more, just a few. It's nice and runny now. Okay. All right, so I will be back again once this dries, and we'll take off the tape. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start with the easy pieces that I don't have to worry about anything else. So these all down here are fine. There's no issue. We'll just take them off. Okay, so here is where we start seeing a little bit of the edge pieces. I forgot that I did the outside edge last, so I'll peel that off. I think this is going to be really cool looking when it's done. We get it all taken off. I'm already really liking that background a lot. Okay, so let's start peeling off pieces. Now, I started out when I was doing this by just cutting the pieces, and then I decided that was taking too long, so I started using a craft knife. So I just set the tape on the page and very lightly used a craft knife to cut all around and try to do it that way. And that went better. It's still, you know, a little fidgety when you have all these little curves and whatnot around, like her hand and the wings and everything, but yeah, it was still faster than trying to hand cut it. Okay, so right here where I didn't get any ink because I messed up on my cutting, I can just take a pencil close to this color and fill that in, and it'll be absolutely fine. So that is good news. All right, let's see if this guy is going to come up. And anywhere where I got some that I didn't want it, I can, you know, use my white Posca or whatever to do that. Look how pretty. I love it. I think that looks fun. And it really does go, like, I was very inspired by that one image. So I really wanted something like this background here. And then, yeah, or something like that. So I kind of got a similar, you know, effect with the ink and the paint splatters and the water droplets. So I think that looks nice. Okay. All right, so next steps for me, we're going to do some alcohol marker work. But it's going to be very subtle colors and tones, lots of really light blues. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with this ornament. I feel like it should be a darker color, like in this range, but I kind of want it to go from like darker to lighter at the top here. So I kind of want an ombre effect. I don't know if it would be better to try to do that with alcohol markers, because the alcohol markers on this paper aren't always the greatest, or if I could do it with some chalk pastel. And I think that's the way I'm going to go, actually. Just to get a nice gradient, you know? Yes, I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're just going to use all the mediums on this. And then at the end, I am going to use some kind of sparkly paint or stickles or something to cover this. So this doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want a little bit of a transition. So like I said, I want it to be light up here and then get darker as I move down. So we're going to start with this color. So this is my favorite little turquoise color. And we're going to start right about here and blend so that kind of goes into white at the top. Add a little bit more color. And of course, since it's chalk pastel, I can erase whatever I don't end up liking, and it won't be a big deal. Like if I get over the line art is what I'm trying to say there, in case I wasn't clear. Okay, we're gonna go to this one and see. I'm just kind of grabbing things at random and seeing what happens. All right, I like that. I'm gonna use this one too. I don't know if that's darker really. It's not so much darker. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a really nice dark blue. I'm going to try it with this one first. I'm just going to go ahead and color straight on the page with this. And try to use the tip of this to blend that out. Yeah, that didn't really work. Okay, so let's use this dark guy. This one? I guess we'll try it and see. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I didn't want to go too crazy with the ornament because I feel like she needs to be the focus and not so much the ornament, at least in my eyes. So we're just going to go ahead and leave her as is. All right, I'm going to erase what I don't want, and I will be back with you guys here in a sec. All right, I like that. And I am going to take one more step just so that I don't completely mess up my ornament here. I am going to take a Post-it note, just a big square one. I'm going to put it over the majority of the darker chalk pastel so that I don't get it all over my hands, because that's very likely to happen. I'm already covered in stuff. So yeah, so we're going to just go ahead and grab some markers and get started on her, I got my markers pulled. We're going to get started on her. I'm going to use a very, very light blue for her skin, like super light. You might not even see it, because then I'm going to do a little bit of shading on her skin too, but not a ton. And there's also some parts around here where I'm going to have to add in some pencils. So like here between the wing and her body, and here and here. So I'll keep those in mind too when I start using my pencils. But for now, we're going to use this super light BG000 for her skin. Okay, here's what it looks like with just the alcohol marker work done. I did such like really, really light shading on the boots and her little coat here because that's all going to be white. And then she's going to have blue tinged skin and other, and like white hair as well. But I went ahead and added in the blue highlights to that too. And then her wings are going to be a little darker, but not super dark. But this is probably like I'll just do a little bit of shading against this and then add in white, and then we'll do a little bit of stickles or something on that as well. So, okay, so I'm gonna cover this back up so that I don't mess up everything. And then I'm gonna zoom you back in. We'll get started on her skin. Going back to my Sioux color pencils. They worked really well on that first page, so I'm hoping it works well again. And yeah, and then I'll talk to you again here in a second. I'm going to work on probably the skin and the hair, and then I'll pop back in and chat with you a second. Okay, hair and skin is done. I think that looks really nice. I will be going through and outlining her hair with the white when I'm done with that. I'm also going to go ahead just really quickly with this lightest blue and add in a little bit more color, a little bit more shading into the darker areas on her white outfit here. Anywhere where I feel like it would benefit from just a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and add that in really quick. Okay, and on her boots as well. All right, on her clothing, I am gonna continue using the same colors. I went a little darker with the base color on the outfit itself. So I'm gonna use this one. So this is like the darker skin color that I was using. Use that as a shadow to start. Okay, there is her dress done, which I think looks cute. It's a nice difference, a little enough difference that it kind of pulls in this turquoise in the background a little bit too. So I think that looks nice. And then we're going to go in and work on these little holly leaves. So I'm just going to use, again, the same colors I've been using. So just in case I haven't told you, these are the colors. So I've got light aqua green, pale blue, cerulean blue, and denim blue. So I'm using the denim on the holly berries here, the holly leaves. Okay, so we're going to work on the wings next, and I think I'm just going to stick with one color again. For the shading on this one, I'm going to use the pale blue. I think I might bring in a little bit of the light aqua green as well, but I just want a little bit, just like the tiniest bit of shadow. Like I don't want a whole bunch. And I do want to kind of add in some like texture on the wings too. Okay, I'm going to bring in my white and just kind of add in a few streaks with the white. More through like the center areas where the color wasn't, I didn't put the blue. Okay, and then I am going to add in just a little bit, I'm going to do a little bit more up here on the white. A little bit of this blue-green color, just kind of randomly interspersed, kind of following the directions of the lines that I've kind of added in. Okay. All right, I think she is pretty much done. I'm gonna go through and go ahead and outline her in Posca. So I will be right back. Okay, so I am going to add in a little bit of this light aqua green into some areas so that I can have this color kind of represented in more places than just her dress and that little bit of background. So I'm going to put a little bit in her hair. Her hair will still look white. I'm going to use this on her cheeks and along her forehead a little bit. And then her eyes are going to be this color. Now these are super teeny tiny eyes, so I'm just going to do a solid color in there. I am going to put a little bit of a dot on her nose and a little bit on her lips. I'm going to outline just this little area here on her wing. Okay, and then trying to think where else I want a little bit of white. I think I'm just going to do a little bit along the top edge of her wing. And then maybe as well on the wings, I'm going to do it along. No, you know what? I'm just going to leave that. I think that looks fine. Okay, so next up I'm going to get, I'm going to do a little bit of blending on this. Not a whole lot. I'm just going to add like a little shadow bit. I feel like that needs to automatically be blurred. So I'm just barely touching, and I'm just going to create like the idea of a shadow part. I'm going to have to switch to the darker pencil a little bit down here. Just kind of so it looks like, I mean, you guys have seen the ornaments, you know, you've got your darker, especially with like a circular ornament. You have this whole area at the bottom that's a little bit darker. Okay, and then I will need, I'm going to just grab, no, I'm just going to do it with the blue. I was going to say I was going to grab something a little darker, but I think I'm just going to do it with the blue. I'm going to add in a little bit of shading from where she's on here. Okay, let's see what we think of that. And then next we'll be moving on to like the specialty things. So I'm going to grab out some paints and some stickles and some sparkly bits. We're going to have fun with that. So yeah, so next time, or when I come back, I will be working on that stuff, and I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so I got some things whited out here. I'm going to use my white pencil just to soften the black lines around her skin and her wings. It's not going to completely cover them up, but it's going to make them not so stark. And I want everything to kind of be soft with this page, if that makes sense. I do feel like maybe on her dress, because I've got a couple of blue paint pens. These are T-Stroke paint pens that I could possibly use. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to leave them. I'm just going to leave that. I think. I keep saying that. I think. Because if I go over it with this, that doesn't really... No, that doesn't really do anything. So, yeah, I'm just gonna, just on her skin and I think on her wings a little bit. Just gonna trace all of those black lines.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use the blue on the wings, but not on her skin. I think her skin's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and use the blue specifically on the outline of the wings, this lighter blue that I have. Okay, I think that looks all right. All right, there we go. So we're going to leave that like that, right? Yes, that's what we're going to do. I keep looking at things. I'm like, well, maybe I should do... Actually, I might try that and see how that looks. I have this darker blue Posca. I might go over the... Yeah, I'm going to go over the holly here. I like that. I don't think I have a good turquoise color. As I say that, I find one. We can try it and see. Yep, that'll work. Posca the whole dang page. Okay. No more Posca. That's a lie. I'm actually going to be using more here in just a minute. Okay. I am going to take the colors that we've been using. So some of these Sioux colors that we have here. I'm going to add some shading to the snowdrift here. So we're going to also just take a really small, so I have a point, I have an 02 fine liner here, and we're just going to kind of sketch in the rest of the horizon line just to kind of follow the snow all the way across. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of blue tinge to the snow. So anywhere where there's a little bit of shadow, I will add some of this blue. I can add in a little bit like on the ridges too, to just kind of make it, give it some more depth. Okay. And then I'll just draw in a few, just kind of randomly placed little snowy hills. Okay, and then I'm going to outline the snow with the white. Okay, where are we at with everything? I'm going to do... Okay, so now I have a bunch of stuff that I'm going to play with because these are all things that I don't typically get to play with. I'm going to have to scoop some things out of here. You guys should see this desk. Holy moly. Okay, so some things I do play with often. So you guys have seen this Extreme Folk Art glitter before. I'm going to use that on the ornament. I'm just going to use this scrap piece of paper to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and you just brush it on right over top of all the coloring and everything that you've done, and then you get this beautiful glittery effect. Okay, so next I'm going to try to use this stuff. So this is Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel. So we're going to attempt to see what this looks like. So this is super, I did open the lid a little bit, and it's like super thick and sparkly. I'm going to use this on the top of the ornament. I'm sure it's not just meant to be brushed on. I feel like this is like something that you would put on like in a stencil or something, and then lift the stencil up and you'd have this fabulous sparkly silver design left behind. But I want to try it. I bought all this sparkly stuff and I still have never used the vast majority of the stuff that I have. So like, I need to try to use some of this. Okay, so there's that. I'm not going to use any more of that. I am going to use some of this Luna Paste. This is Cosmic Shimmer Luna Paste. And I'm just going to brush that along the snow here. So I'm going to use the same brush that I used for the extreme glitter paint. You guys probably need to see that, don't you? And this is so sparkly. This will probably also hide all of that detail work that I just did, but that's okay because I want sparkly snow. Okay, I'm gonna move this around. Oh wow, you can really see, look how sparkly that is. That is a lot of sparkle right there already. Okay, so we're gonna leave those. And then I also have this little kit that I got from the Art Spirits a while ago. And I want to use this True Silver. And I have this tiny little brush and this tiny little palette. And I'm just going to pick up some silver. We're going to start with the berries, because this silver is fantastic. Now these watercolors are, since they're homemade, they're a little pricey, but if you have any extra cash and you want to spend some on watercolors and you just have a little bit, you know, or just want to get one thing to test it out, get this True Silver. It is beyond phenomenal. I love it. Okay. Okay, and then I'm also going to use this. I'm going to attempt to use it on the bigger snowflakes, and then I'm going to use my jelly roll or my Sparkle Pop pen on the smaller snowflakes. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So I'm going to speed this up. You guys can watch me kind of paint one of these in, and then I'll do the rest of them off camera. And hopefully I don't completely mess it up. I'm kind of digging the look that's there now. I don't know if I want to completely fill in these. I'm gonna have to think about this. Okay, so I'm not going to completely put silver on all of it. I am going to use my silver brush and add a little bit more detail to the wings. So all of these little spots are going to become silver little spots. Yeah, and then I think what I'm going to do is, if I can get this glitter paint to cooperate with me, I'm going to do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to use some stickles. So I have this, oh gosh, what's this one called? I don't remember. I will put it on screen because I know I still have the name on the swatch chart. I think it might just be Crystal. But I'm going to try and see if, no, I don't think it's gonna be more water and not enough glitter, I think. And that'll be a lot of water on my page that is just too much. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do the stickles. Okay. Thankfully the stickles is close to that I'm going to be using. I'm using the crystal stickles. This one down here is the only one I'm concerned about. I might do like a little bit of shading with some blue. Is this still wet? No, that's dry. I'm going to do a little bit of shading with some blue just to make sure that it's a little more visible. So I'm going to just kind of add a little bit. Oh, that's not completely dry. It's mostly dry, just not completely dry. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of just shade one side of the snowflake all the way around. Yep, we're gonna use the crystal stickles on these snowflakes. I'll do this one down here so you guys can see, and then I will go off screen and do the rest of them. So just a very light amount of stickles all the way around this little snowflake. This might be thicker than it still has about the same amount of sparkle, so I'm not too worried. And I want these snowflakes to be subtle anyway. They don't need to stand out. kind of wanted this to be all about the fairy. So like I didn't put a lot of detail into the ornament, and I didn't put a lot of detail, you know, like into these snowflakes, so that the fairy kind of gets all the attention. That was my thought process. And when you put stickles on like this, you can actually use the paint, like the nozzle tip, almost like a paintbrush. And you don't have to fill it in completely. You don't need a ton on there. Just like a little line of sparkle is plenty. When I get to that teeny tiny one up in the corner, that one might just get a coat all the way across it. Instead of trying to get all the little bits and pieces. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like in the, I mean, look at that. It's so sparkly, you guys. So sparkly. Probably add some stickles to her wings too. So, okay, I'm going to go off screen, and actually I probably won't do too much to her wings because I want the silver to pop still on those. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of stickles. Okay, I'm going to go off screen and do the rest of these snowflakes, and I will be back with you guys here in a minute. Okay, guys, here is my final image. I had a different idea for the snowflakes and everything, but things just kept popping up that I wanted to try to use, so this is what we ended up with. I have so much sparkle on this dude. I'm going to kind of move it around so you can see all of this sparkly goodness everywhere. Like, there's so much on here. I'm not sure I love the Luna paste, but especially like if you look at it like this, it just looks like it's dirty snow. But that's okay. I don't love the Luna paste. That was probably not the best. So looking at it, I would just have thought it was just like a white sparkle, but there's like it's like a gray color. But you know, when you hold it like that, it's super sparkly and fun. But yeah, I think that is it for me today. I should have just done, I should have just done this down there. It's okay. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. And it's a super fun page. Super fun. Okay. So that is it. Let's compare to our original. So this is my inspiration, and this is what we ended up with. And I think it looks awesome. All right. So there is one more video coming next week. And I've been having fun doing these videos, so I hope you guys have enjoyed these. And yeah, so until then, you all take care. I'll see you then. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.